Hi, I'm Marsha Janofsky, and the lesson that I'm presenting today is one on formative assessments. Actually, we're presenting 4 different tools that the students can use over a series of 2 different professional development lessons.
But the main thing we want to talk about is how to create an E-class classroom assessment. But to use it not necessarily as a big major test grade, but to just use it as a quick down and dirty, on-the-fly type formative assessment. How many of you have ever done a classroom assessment in E-class? Okay, so Amy has. Is that the only one that's done it? Okay. So Sam, right? Yes.
So the exercise was for the teachers to go in and create a quick formative assessment.
What's the main reason why you would do a formative assessment?
Gauge student understanding.
Yeah, sure. To just do a quick reality.
At the beginning of the sessions, we talked about the fact that we would be covering 4 different tools, but we would be going into a lot of detail when we were talking about using E-class classroom assessments.
Today we're going to concentrate on E-class and how to create one in E-class specifically. And then next session I think we'll concentrate on some other tools. Yay?
We talked about the fact that trying to decide which tool to use was possibly the hardest part.
Okay, so let's get started. And I already have a formative assessment out there for you.
So I had the teachers to go out and take a classroom assessment that I had already created for them. It worked out really nicely because it showed them all of the features that they could incorporate when they create their own classroom assessment.
You are getting the very same experience that your students would get. So what I want you to pay attention to is not so much the content of the question, but just the whole environment of the test that you are taking. And then we're going to talk about it when you get finished.
We spent quite a bit of time allowing the teachers to go through and take the assessment that I had created. There was lots of great discussion about the features that they were seeing. One of the big things that I wanted them to pay attention to was actually at the end of the quiz when I had set up the assessment so that it would provide all kinds of feedback, both correct and incorrect answers, as well as allowing the students, in this case teachers, to take the quiz as many times as possible. I really wanted to set them up so they would understand that the C&I tool gave them a very robust environment. Then, once we transitioned into all the other products I was going to show them, we would be able to compare and contrast where the powerful was as opposed to where just the interactive stuff might be.
Go ahead and finish taking the test. And what happens when you finish? Did you see that some feedback popped up? All right, what I want you to do is pay attention to that feedback because you get to control what feedback the students see. All right, that's all up to you, whether they get any feedback at all.
We spent quite a bit of time talking about the experience, talking about the different kinds of feedback you can get from the E-class C&I tool as far as classroom assessments go. I really wanted them to get a good picture of what E-class provided so that as we moved on into Google Forms and pretty much took the exact same quiz, they'd be able to see the difference between the 2 products. My ultimate goal was to take us from the TIM model, from the adoption stage where I was just guiding them through some technology tools into at least the adaptation stage where they were independently exploring other tools and maybe even into infusion where they would, based upon their desired outcome, get to choose whatever tools would work best.
If you had answered 30, which I thought was the correct answer, how come and none of the other vlogs told me that it was wrong? It was only you guys.
We know how many days they're left.
You people on the social studies So you guys did that, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so here's what I'd like for us to do, kids. I thought it would be fun if we actually went in and created one of those classroom assessments. Would you like that?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So what I'd like for you to do is either go to your sandbox or go to one of your courses, and we will actually step through this together. Okay, students, so as you recall, yesterday when we finished up our session on E-Class, we were talking about formative assessments, but we did them from within E-Class. Today we want to explore 3 other methods of being able to do assessment.
The next time we were together, we picked up the lesson with exploring Google Forms. It was an already created quiz that looked pretty much exactly like the quiz that they had taken in E-Class. After that, we went on and explored 2 other Web 2.0 tools, but not in a whole lot of detail, so that they could have the opportunity of exploring them themselves, knowing now what features they were looking for, so they could make a decision later on which tool was appropriate for them to use, depending upon the situation.
So at the end of this exercise, your goal is to be able to say, here's what I want to do in my class. I think that an E-Class assessment is going to fit nicely, or you know what, I think I'm going to try a Google form, or maybe I'd rather come down and take a look at Go Formative, or maybe even a Quiz. So it's going to be your choice at the end of this as to which one of those tools you use.
So in conclusion, I hope that you've seen we've taken just a regular old lesson where normally I would have walked the teachers through how to create a classroom assessment in the E-Class C&I tool. That pretty much would have been the end of the assignment. I would have shown them, then we would have done it together, and then I would have sent them off to use that one tool to create any kind of assessment, whether it be formative or summative or anything else. But instead, because of this class, I realized the importance of showing them multiple tools. So we explored really 3 other tools, one of them in a little more detail, Google Forms, and then more of an exploratory concept where we took them through Go Formative and as well Quiz. And at the end, we sent them away empowered not only to do a formative assessment, but to also choose which tool based upon whatever their mission was or whatever their goal was for that particular assessment. So we moved hopefully from adaptation to infusion. Yay!